Hello, and welcome back to the Yeetsydoodles podcast. I'm your host, Brendan Houghton, and on today's episode, the movie of the week, for this week, we'll be talking about Mulholland Drive. So that's going to be the movie of the week. We're going to talk about that later on. But for now, I want to talk about, just the little things, I guess. I should have planned this part of the episode a little bit better, but, it's whatever. So I'm recording this at home. The past two episodes of this show, I recorded at, CTC, when we could actually go there. We have a podcast room dedicated to that. But, right now I'm just recording at home with a very cheap microphone I bought recently, which has actually come in kind of handy because I've had to do a lot of Zoom meetings, not necessarily school related, but I've had to do some Zoom meetings because I'm part of a band, and I've had to do like sort of band meetings with Zoom, and vocal lessons. Done that, and for some other stuff, and I also had to do a birthday party over Zoom. And, I've got but I don't, use Zoom with, the main computer we have, which is a Windows thing. We don't really have, a webcam on our computer. So we just use my, my Chromebook, which has a webcam. Every person at school pretty much almost always gets a Chromebook, or they bring their own laptop with them. I actually, I bought my Chromebook from school, but I actually have another Chromebook for my own personal use because using a school Chromebook is terrible because they kind of ban 90% of the stuff that you want to use. Albeit not to say that Chromebooks themselves are actually good. I just it's a small device for typing on Google Docs and watching stuff. It's really all it's good for, honestly. But anyway. It does have a webcam, and it's actually, the webcam itself is actually pretty good in comparison to the ones that I've seen people use during the Zoom meetings that I've been a part of. Oh, and I also had a big group meeting for this musical that I'm in. That went terribly. Not the actual meeting, just, we, each of us had, introductions, sort of icebreakers to sort of introduce ourselves. Each of us were supposed to be like, okay, my name is, blah, blah, blah. I go to this, I'm in this grade, and I play the role of blah, blah, blah. And what I've been doing during the quarantine it's basically just that. That's the premise. That's the prompt we've been presented with. We have to talk about, what's one thing that's been keeping us sane during quarantine. Okay. And, I was one of the last people to go. It's a big group of that actually attended the call. 45 people. I think there were a few more people in the musical who couldn't, be a part of it, but luckily, they posted the announcements on Facebook. I'm getting sort of off topic. But, so for my introduction, I said hello. My name is Brendan Houghton. I go to Oakdale High School. I play the role of Henry Ford. And what I've been doing to keep myself sane is I've been sleeping a lot. And then I proceeded to lean my head forward and sort of hit it against my keyboard. Not like the laptop keyboard, the keyboard that plays notes. The musical keyboard, because I was... it's... Okay, so here, let me set it up for you. It's me, okay, and then there's the piano keyboard, and then there's the laptop behind the keyboard, but it's kind of above, so they can't see the keyboard. So basically, I hit my head against the keyboard, and it was received, and it was universally acclaimed, my introduction. I assure you. I mean, the silence was deafening. In all seriousness, it was pretty good. Yeah, it was okay. this is the most awkward introduction I've ever had. I think I'm doing a good job of talking, but I'm kind of talking on my butt talks a little bit. So it's not necessarily the most entertaining thing people could possibly hear. Oh well. But I've been handling it well. I've been handling schoolwork pretty well. Mostly because it's I don't know. In my opinion, I don't have to do too much. Honestly, I didn't have to do too much beforehand. But if anything, this has just escalated the absolute nothingness that I've had to do for school. And it's been pretty great. But it sort of does bother me. I'm gonna miss out on, and I feel the same way about these things. Obviously, though, it's like I'm a senior and I'm going to miss out on sort of like prom and all the stupid little things I get to do as a senior. Oh, graduation, walking down. I could really care less about that part. Like I care. I don't care about that. But obviously my parents, they're gonna be like, oh, that's my boy. Oh yes, what a success. Yes, carrying the Houghton tradition and the family name, and all that. And, the only reason I cared about prom was because, I talked about, oh, well, I think it's a bit of a waste, but they're like, oh, I think you should go to prom. And, one person told me this, and that's the only reason why I care. It's just for that one person, who told me that I should go. And even then, they probably forgot by now, because that was near the start of the year that they told me. But, it's not necessarily going to prom, it's just I rarely get to see that person or talk to them. Snapchat with them like all the time, so I guess it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, good friend of mine. But yeah, school, Zoom meetings, I've been handling all that well. I've mostly just been, like, early on I was playing Minecraft a lot with the CTC group or whoever liked playing it. But no one wants to play it anymore, so I just kind of stopped playing it. Yeah. Yeah, I've mostly just been watching YouTube videos recently. As it turns out, my sister rented Disney Plus. I think I'll talk about that next episode. I'll sort of review Disney Plus, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, is it really that good of a streaming service? Albeit, it's definitely earns a lot of brownie points just because it has the entirety of The Simpsons on it. And I freaking love the early seasons of that show. Yeah, I said it. I said the most uncontroversial opinion of all time. The early Simpson, the early seasons of The Simpsons were great, and then just like I looked on IMDb. I looked on IMDb because I was like, okay, they can't all be like not great, right? And obviously there are some that are rated like 7.8, like after like season 9 or season 10. And it's like, how? How has this show gone on for like an additional 20 years past this point without having just like one great episode since then? Like there was this Lego episode and I thought it was good at the time that it came out, but I looked it up, 7.8. And that's like the peak as to what the show can even get done. And that was like years ago. Nowadays it really is just sort of settling around the 6 to 7 range. But it is, I do care a little bit too much about IMDb. But they're right, though. They are right when it comes to, like, these later episodes of The Simpsons. Yeah, they're just not that good. Albeit, I think some of the early episodes of The Simpsons should be rated 10 or 9.9, but whatever. People are really picky about that. I guess. It is a bit more of an episodic show, so, it's about the whole, really. It's had great episodes. Right, talking about Disney Plus, that's pretty much everything I've watched on it so far. I've just started from season 1, which I know isn't that great, but I've always been like a fan of the very first episode from that season. I just like seeing how the animation has sort of improved over time. Yeah. Right. So Disney Plus, not quite sure what else there is to talk about, other than, oh yeah, plans. I should talk about my plans. Sorry, that was a bit of a burp. That was a yawn. That was almost a burp, but it was mostly just a yawn. I turned it into a yawn. Yeah. Right. So. Right. Plans. I have plans. Because it's like, I just can't keep sitting around all day. So I've been, besides like getting this channel sort of back up and running again, in terms of, well, that, I kind of want to do like gameplay videos. I was thinking about sort of doing multiplayer sessions where I play Scribblio, Pictures Against Humanity, which is basically just Cards Against Humanity, but with pictures, which allows for people to use a bunch of blank cards. I've actually recorded some footage for both of those already, albeit I have yet to look at them, and I'm not even sure if they're that good. So, but, like a couple hours worth, but, that's just because I want to spare time. I don't think the footage for those are that good, necessarily, but, it's something to work on. And I was thinking about being one of those cheapskates also that just do tier lists. I bought a bunch of Cheez-Its recently. Like a bunch of different flavors of Cheez-Its. I also have a bunch of, Italian 4-cheese Cheez-Its. But I've also bought like at least 11, 12. I have like 12 flavors of Cheez-Its. I was planning on making sort of a ranking video. Well, I can't decide between that and like a tier list. I think I'll try to do some sort of weird mishmash between the two. But yeah, so that's for my main YouTube channel. Still working on a review for. I'm not working on it, but I'll probably get around to it. A review for Detective Pikachu. I keep forgetting about it, but it's because I keep trying to do a whole bunch of other things that I never finish. So, yeah, that's my problem. I really do have too many things I want to do. Right now I'm working on... Okay, well, this is actually going to get finished because I'm pretty much... All I have to do is, like, edit the volume down for, like, 3 of the tracks. I'm working on sort of an album of keyboard songs. Yes, keyboard songs. It's a really cheesy aesthetic. It's very... sort of lo-fi, I guess, and just the songs just come from such a childish place, in my opinion. I mean, because they've really just been, I've written them sort of over the course of just my youth, and at the same time, I've never actually taken any, like, piano lessons, which is kind of what a person needs to actually, well, I know chords, and that's kind of all I know. Like the most basic chords, like major, minor chords, triads, and yeah. And of course, like seventh, and, major second, minor second, major third, minor third, and of course, and all of it. Like I know the, I just hit the wire, I guess, for the microphone. Yeah, I guess that's what you would call it. But yeah, I'm working on that. I was also thinking of doing Twitch, but that's really just because I yeah, it's like I record gameplay. It's like it's so much, so I should just do that, honestly. And I actually have done it a little bit. I've gotten a few views, but I think it's fun. I still kind of need to actually get, like, the proper sort of, like, setup for it. Oh, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it is. I think you just need to stream gameplay. Maybe I could get, like, a webcam, but then again, my face is just so atrocious. Right. But yeah, the coronavirus it has been affecting people, surprisingly, even though... Well, it seems small, like the amount in Frederick, it's like 400. Like the total amount in like Maryland, yesterday it was like 6,000, and I'm gonna look it up like today, like what it is right now. Okay, in Maryland now it's 7,694, and if you like truly make it statistical, it's like, well, that's like there's 6 million people in Maryland. That's like 1 out of 1,000, you know. But, you know, it's like every person sees, you know, over the course of their lifetime, nearly every person, unless they're truly isolated from society, nearly every person sees at least 1,000 people. Like, especially kids alone. You know, they see them from school. You know. So it has to affect someone. Or at least it has to have affected someone that you have seen. And that's just because it's a statistical probability. Because we have seen, like with our own eyes, in person, 1,000 people at the very minimum. Like my own school, 1,400 people. Not saying I've seen all of them, but I've seen a lot of people. You know, just inadvertently. I'm not saying that's like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's like, yeah, I don't understand why people try to downplay it. I don't think it's too, well, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, but I don't think it's too bad yet. Well, I've read an article that's like, the worst of the virus is behind us, but it's like, I still don't know. I still don't know. I'm honestly just amazed at how bad we let it get in the U.S., I feel. It's really just because of, you know, the infrastructure of our states, or at least, you know, the more clustered ones like New York. You know, I've been there. It's so claustrophobic to me. You know, just walking there and, you know, all these skyscrapers, you know, walking up and down. You know, people living in apartment complexes. Yeah, just going to the laundry machine, you know? I forget what I was going to say with that, but yeah, my next door neighbors, or at least, you know, one of them, obviously, you know, got the coronavirus, and yeah, she works in a nursing home, and yeah, I'm sorry, it's my dogs. If you hear that, jeez. It's probably some package or some scroll they saw outside. I don't know. But, yeah, my next door neighbor, she got coronavirus because she works in a nursing home. And, you know, obviously, for some. I mean, just imagine just carelessly walking into a nursing home at this time. I don't know. This is the worst, honestly. I mean, I do feel bad, you know. Lots of people, like my dad knew, like a friend of his, you know, got. I'm not sure if it was coronavirus, but he got pneumonia. One of his hunting buddies, you know, he got pneumonia and died. You know. Yeah, not sure if it was coronavirus, but it was like people couldn't see him though. It was the bad thing. Yeah. Of course, yeah, I can't have funerals nowadays. You know, not a lot of closure, really. I am grateful though. None of my friends, none of my family members have gotten it yet. Well, okay, my next door neighbor is pretty cool, so I guess she would be a friend, but you know, that's pretty bad. But she's recovered from it. Yeah, right now she's self quarantining herself. Yeah, she only had like bad symptoms for one day, and yeah, for now they've gone away. Yeah, like I mow her and you know her husband's lawn, and yeah. Um, but you know I'm grateful. Yeah, my brother. Yeah, he works in a hospital of sorts as a lab technician. But luckily, where he is, there haven't been any cases. Sort of in Greenville, North Carolina. So if you have the coronavirus and you want to ruin my life by giving it to my brother, go down to Greenville County, North Carolina. Yeah. So obviously there's probably one freaking psycho who's got it, you know? I mean, there's bound to be. Yeah, I don't trust people. I really don't. You know, it's like, who would want to get it? Maniacs. Maniacs want to get it. You know? Yeah, I want to spread it to all other people intentionally, you know? Sociopaths. No, psychopaths almost. Just. I feel like there has to be at least one person who has it. Or who had it that was like that. Or it could really just be stupidity, honestly. I kind of hope it's that. Like, it'd just be terrible, like, spreading any disease intentionally, like AIDS, you know, coronavirus. And my sister is a teacher, so she's sort of just been doing it over Zoom. She's been taking care of her foster dog recently. And her roommate, you know, they've got their dog, and yeah, they're doing just fine. And yeah, my dad, you know, he still has to. He's sort of an insurance company, so Sorry, I say he is because he's the owner of a title insurance company, and they've been updating their policies to sort of make sure no one gets it. Obviously, you know, they've even gotten masks. You know, I mean, my dad's a bit of a nut in terms of that. You know, but like it's crazy though. Like the week before it like got bad, the week before everything was like canceled, he told me, you know, like by next week, you know, it's gonna get bad, you know, like at least 100,000 cases, and now it's gone to like, you know, 1.7 million, you know. Yeah, by next. I mean, it's crazy to me how much it has exploded. Yeah. I mean, definitely in the beginning, I was certainly one of those people that sort of, hell, you know, it's like, yeah, the past few times this has happened with like Ebola, you know, like, not that many people got, in comparison to this, like, barely anyone got it, except for people in Africa. You know, it's like, and maybe some outliers, but like, barely anyone got it. But now that it's gotten to this point, it is pretty bad. But I'm not worried about myself. I'm not. You know, I've been doing, yeah, washing my hands and all that. And well, I've just been staying indoors, you know, for the most part, except when I go outside to walk my dogs. And if I get the coronavirus that way, you know, it's just like, you know, just stupid, honestly. I mean, they're dogs. You gotta walk them, you know. I mean, if we can't walk them, I mean, they got a big backyard, but you know, right? Our neighborhood, you know, pretty much almost no one has it. And I say almost because obviously my next door neighbor had it. I don't know why I'm trying to defend myself. Literally, everyone in my neighborhood is nearly every day is out walking. It's so funny to me. I feel like people are outside more often now than they were before quarantine. But maybe it's just because I've been outside more, you know. I didn't think I was going to be talking about this for this long, I guess. Yeah. I just wanted to talk about Mulholland Drive. You know, it's a great movie. I don't know. I kind of wanted to talk about this, I guess. You know, just to say this out loud. You know. But you know, let's take it down a peg. All right. Now, yeah, I love my CTC class. You know, I love my classmates. You know, but there's this one kid. Yeah, this one bum. You know. You know, he's a bit of a poopy man. Okay, so I made this list. Okay, we have a group chat, and you know he's been a bit of a poopy man. Okay, so I made this list entitled "Reasons as to Why Braden Becker is a Poopy Man." And trust me, yeah, Braden Becker is a very poopy man if you do know him and you're friends with him. Yeah, this list, yeah, this darning evidence will change your mind. I assure you. Okay, so reasons as to why Braden Becker is a poopy man. 8. We've got 8. Number 1. His first name is almost identical to my first name. You know, it's absolutely dreadful. It's led to a lot of confusion. And even though he didn't choose that name, I resent him for it. It's terrible. There's another CTC classmate who goes by the name of, well, he's Braden, but we call him Brady. So there's less confusion with him. Not as much of a grudge as I hold with frickin' Braden Becker. So that was reason number 1 as to why Braden Becker is a poopy man. I'm sorry about the paper, you know. Let's get a little bit of ASMR action in here. Why don't we? Yeah. Right. Number 2. He runs like Tom Cruise and walks like John Travolta, even though he is not a Scientologist. I think it's just absolutely disrespectful. I mean, the double standards, the hypocrisy, yeah, that this man upholds. Number 3. He looks like a dried raisin. And, you know, the reason as to why this insult is so layered, it's so powerful, is because a raisin in and of itself is basically like a dried grape looking thing. So he's basically a bit of he looks a bit like a prune, I guess, but if it was like dried. Like a dried raisin, okay? Like a raisin itself is already dried. But like imagine a raisin being so dried that you call that raisin dried. That's what he looks like. Like that particular raisin is more dried. But, you know, moving on. Number 4, he makes hats look bad. And I don't know what to attribute it to. You know, but anytime I see him in a hat, it's just dreadful. You know, like I make hats look good. At least, you know, hats make me look good. Yeah, but whenever he wears hats, he makes hats look bad, you know. Not necessarily himself. You know, he just makes the hats look bad. It's like, yo, hat, what are you doing sitting on top of this fool's head? You know? It's dreadful. You know, I wish he would stop bringing hats down to his level. Number 5. I can't with this one. It's so stupid. No, it's not even just it's actually terrible. This sounds terrible, but it's really supposed to be this dumb joke. Okay. Back in character. Number 5. I have reason to believe that he likes children. Do you know why? It's because he himself is a child. And I'm not saying that to say that he is a man-child. I mean that to say, from a pure age perspective, he is legally a child, or at the very least, a teenager. And even I am a teenager, but I'm 18. It's legal for me to smoke cigarettes. He cannot do that legally. Of course, he can probably just get away with it because God knows we can't. There are so many alleys. But, you know, it's not my point. He likes children. And he's a child. And he also has younger siblings. So it's actually probably a good thing. Nevertheless. Number 6. He has emotions, you know, which is... It's terrible. You know, unlike me. You know, I have no emotions. You know, I am as emotionless as you can get. You know, I am dead inside. You know, I resent him for having emotions. And for being able to be... angry, happy, sad. You know, it's terrible. It's terrible. You could almost say he's human, but he's not human. He's actually, he's very much not in the same subclass as humans. He's really just an emotional monkey, in my opinion. Number 7. He is bananas. As in, he is multiple bananas. Like if you look at him, and if you really, like, analyze him, and you sort of, like triangulate certain coordinates of his body and like do certain measurements, you realize that he is in fact multiple bananas. Right. And number 8, he is a talented filmmaker. And I don't know why I put that down. I really don't know how to twist that into a negative. Well, it makes his ego really bad. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, get roasted, Braden Becker, in your face. All right. You are full of rubbish. All right. So that was 8 reasons as to why Braden Becker is a poopy man. I'm going to take a quick water break. As in, I'm going to get water. I'm not going to go to the bathroom. I'm dehydrated. You know, when you roast someone that hard, you yourself tend to get caught in the heat, you know, and you start sweating a little bit from just the pure heat, and, you know, it makes you a bit dehydrated. So, yeah, I'll be back. I'm probably not even going to play anything in the middle of this. It's just going to be this weird pause. Yeah. All right. I clicked the wrong thing. Right. We're back, right? Yeah, I think we're back. Okay, we're back. So I'm back with water. I've been... Yeah, there's proof right here. You can just hear I definitely did not add that in post. I'm too lazy for that. But I've been drinking water a lot recently from these bottles. These Blendell bottles. I think they're actually used for, like... Actually, it might be Blender. But, like, the sort of paint in the font in the name is kind of faded a bit. But I've been sort of drinking a lot from these. Yeah, I just kind of like them. Yeah, for one thing, they're big. You know, I like putting big things in my mouth. I'm not funny at all. But, you know, water, it's good for you. I mean, I like it. You know, I like water. So, yeah. Alright. 35 minutes in, let's actually talk about the movie I want to talk about in a very scripted fashion. And I say scripted because this movie is so good that I actually did not want to just talk about it spontaneously and ramble. I'm not going to talk about, like, every aspect of it. I'm just going to talk about... Because there's a lot to cover with this movie. Yeah, there's a lot of different interpretations, and it's just a lot easy. Okay, if you want to hear that, it's just look it up on Wikipedia. Okay. If you want to hear, I can because it's come out since 2001. I can't offer anything really that great to it, in my opinion. And obviously, I've been influenced by that, but, you know, it is a great movie, so I did want to talk about it. Certain aspects of it. Yeah, just really what stuck with me, personally. Mulholland Drive is a film directed by David Lynch, starring Naomi Watts and featuring Billy Ray Cyrus. It's about a wide variety of stories in Hollywood, which Lynch identifies when talking about the movie as the land of dreams. And Mulholland Drive is my favorite movie of all time, without a doubt. And Roger Ebert liked it too. So I think you can just take it up with him if you believe my opinion of this movie is garbage. You know. Yeah, just go to his grave and, you know, put a little flower by it and say, "You're wrong about Mulholland Drive, rest in peace." Yeah, something like that. If you really feel the need. Anyway. I say... But, you know, if you think my opinion of this movie is garbage... Right, I say that in reference to the abundance of ambiguity throughout this movie that has been polarizing film critics for the past 18 years since it came out in 2001. And, yeah. Maybe I have some subliminal bias for it since I was born that year, but I've convinced myself that's not the case. If I had to further dumb down what goes on in this movie, I would just list the themes: love, greed, in parts, I think, definitely. Satisfaction, corruption, expectations, guilt, and I just came up with this, lust. It almost sounds like the 7 deadly sins, but I don't think gluttony is really in it that much. If at all. Could be. I kind of forget. Favorite movie of all time, and he's already forgetting things. Oh, it's not what I seek out. Is it related to the 7 deadly sins? I could care less. I mean, unless it's just, like, blatantly obvious. Unless it's, like, 7, in which it's literally that. I don't know. That's not the main point of this movie. Right. In order for me to dive, deeper into this movie than that, I'd probably just have to explain the whole plot or structure of this movie. So, yeah. Spoilers. You're probably never going to see this because it is that weird. It costs money to rent it. I don't think it's on any streaming service, but I think it is worth it just for the experience of watching it. Honestly, it truly is. I think it is very profound and groundbreaking, depending on how you look at it, really. And if not, you could just watch it for a laugh. But yeah, let's get into it. So, this might be a bit rambly sounding, or it might be a bit... Like, I wrote this, like, months ago. Like, back in, like, November or December. So this might be a bit jumbled and incoherent. So, yeah. Let's get into it. Okay, this is for people who've watched the movie. So if anything I say doesn't make sense, it's probably because you haven't watched it. And if it is because you watched it, sorry. Sorry for not being more precise. But, right. So, like, basically, in terms of the plot, like, the first 2/3 of the movie, I think, take place inside of the head of Betsy, or as she is known in real life, outside of the dream world. She has created for herself, she is known as Diane. And the last third of the movie is her sort of failing to come to terms with her actions that she performed before her dreams. Or before this one night of dreaming that she had, I think. Which is basically what the first 2/3 of the movie, I think, is. Right, so in real life, Diane pays a contract killer to assassinate her ex-lover, Camilla. Yeah. After Camilla left Diane to get engaged to the famous film director Adam Kesher, which Diane is present for. She's present for Camilla's proposal, and we just see on her face just extreme anger. And, sorry, I'm just thinking about the great actor in that scene. Yeah. But yeah, Adam Kesher is the name of the guy Camilla marries. And that just sounds like the name of a mediocre film director, doesn't it? Adam Kesher. Or a Pokemon trainer. Adam Kesher. Anyway, the assassination attempt in the movie is, as far as we know, successful. Yeah, it is successful. And I believe it is after that point in the movie that she starts dreaming after the assassination has happened. I think. It's like the last third of the movie. There are obviously chunks that are before the dream. Unless, of course, she really just has dreams about the same thing all the time, which is not how dreams work for me personally, but it could be. Now, Diane, in real life, is not, outside of her dreams, is not a successful or even a respected film actor. She's usually an extra in the background. And she doesn't really have any, true importance. And I feel like that's part of the reason as to why Camilla leaves her. But another part of it is that, Diane just might be a bit clingy, Like, in her mind, Camilla is kind of all she has. Like, this sort of fling they have going, this affair. And it's, I guess to Camilla, it just wasn't as serious. But to Diane it is, because that's all she has. I mean, Camilla's successful, that's why she doesn't care. But yeah. in her mind, Diane tries to retaliate. Like, literally, in her mind, by dreaming. Subconsciously. She ends up putting Camilla, in her dream, into this position of weakness by making her an amnesiac who, in the dream, decides to go by the name of Rita after looking at a poster. And Diane portrays herself, as when she's Betsy, as this up-and-coming actor bound to make a big start in Hollywood, since she has big connections with the industry, like her mother or like her aunt, or sort of, she has the in, just like how Camilla, to her, seems to have an in. However, unlike Camilla in the dream, Betsy takes care of Rita, almost as if to say, at least to herself, if you were in my shoes, of desperation, and I were in yours, if I was successful, I would have stuck by your side. I would not have abandoned you. But I mean, this is her telling herself that. I mean, there's no way a person can actually know the true circumstances. Anyway, throughout the dream, from the second they meet, they spend nearly every second of the dream near each other, except when she has to leave to audition for a film. Because she's an actor. Which, as insignificant as that sounds, shows that there is a sliver of Betsy that would rather toss away her friendship with Rita for the sake of pursuing her career. But when she does come face to face with, the corruption of manipulation that occurs on set in her dream, she ultimately comes back to Rita and spends the rest of the dream with her until she inevitably has to wake up. Rita disappears. Her fantasy, her desire for her love, the closeness that she felt with this imaginary being is gone. And all that's left for Betsy is a blue box. Like in the dream, I mean. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure what the blue box is, necessarily. I think it's related to guilt. She's about to wake up back to reality, where she has just told, a professional hitman to kill her former lover. But, it's a look into her soul, I feel like. Like the blue box itself, it's about as empty as it gets. In her dream, she and Rita are involved in a romantic relationship, but yet I wonder if it's because Diane loves Camilla, or if it's because Diane loves herself, or desires the love of someone else, or at the very least, Diane tries to love herself. But at one point in the movie, she tries to love herself in this. I don't know how to describe this and make it sound appropriate. She tries to love herself through some sort of self-loving act, quotations, but she just ends up sort of bawling along the way instead. She can't. I feel like she's used to sort of tossing herself at others, and when that's taken away from her, she takes others away from her. But, I think I kind of get to that later on in the review. It's a bit of a tangent. So when I think about, the movie in that sort of sense, the pursuit or the desire to be close to someone or just people, I begin to wonder if I've been doing all I can to be good to my friends without overstepping any boundaries. And I'd like to think I've only been doing it for the past couple of years as a result of seeing this movie. That I've been good to my friends, not without overstepping their boundaries. I mean, but, even then, I'm just not sure if I'm doing my best to be a good friend, is what I'm trying to get at. I mean, the protagonist is a character who wants to make connections. He wants to let herself get attached to others. But it's this obsession, with wanting to be loved constantly, whether in real life or in the movies as an actor, or in her romantic relationship with Camilla, that leads to her life becoming more artificial. I mean, it just leads to her life becoming more plain than she wanted it to be. Because it's always just been about this one thing, this one constant, like, how can I improve this? Just keep improving. But it's always for the future, never thinking, in the present, really. I mean, rather than accepting that her dreams or her aspirations, she's just unlucky, they're unrealistic, or that, she shouldn't be forced. I mean, she should try to learn from her mistakes and slowly build up her career over time as a respected film actor instead. I mean, she's still getting opportunities. Instead of realizing that, she follows her impulses and hires someone to kill the person that she has dreamt of being, that she wants to be, which essentially is almost identical to her killing her dreams. I don't know. But in her dream, an assassin who looks identical to the real-life contract killer in the dream kills his target, but has to kill 2 more people due to his clumsiness, implying that the hitman in real life not only killed Camilla, but also the director she was engaged to, Adam Kesher, and his mom. Adam Kesher's mom. So not only has she essentially killed her dreams, she's kind of killed the people that she was sort of attached to in the industry. I think it was really just those 2. Like when we see her in the proposal scene at dinner, those are like the only 2 people that she barely connects with, like Adam, but like. Her love life and her movie industry, she erases herself from her attachments. And when you just have absolutely nothing, and you can't pull yourself out of that, not just because you feel down on yourself, it's because you literally feel the guilt, of not only taking away life, but essentially taking away the things in your life. As selfish as that sounds, all that's left for her to do is to erase herself out of existence, because she can't bear living the rest of her days with her purpose in life seemingly gone. She erases herself. She kills herself. Anyway, David Lynch also directed the movie Eraserhead, so me constantly saying that she erases herself is actually supposed to be a bit of a pun, but in retrospect, I don't think it's that obvious. Of course, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at the very least. Sorry, this is back to me personally. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at the very least nervous about my future. I mean, pursuing a career in filmmaking isn't necessarily the safest route to take. And even if I do get opportunities, I'm afraid my vision won't be good enough. But even then, at least in that scenario, though, I can learn from it. So I've put that fear aside. But it's this other fear I have, the fear that my vision will be manipulated for the worse, whether it's by others or just by my own expectations of what I think others would want to see. In real life, in the dream, Diane has an audition, and it's great, but, it's corrupt, so of course she doesn't get the part, and she realizes that, but, in the dream, she gets closure because she's just with Rita the whole time. But in real life, Diane's audition doesn't actually, her auditions in general don't go well. The parts usually go to Camilla or some other big star actress. Yeah, so what she's done, she's essentially convinced herself that the system, is rigged. Like in her dream, Kesher is, the film director, who she thinks is also, who is pretty much also the caster, I guess. The guy who casts roles. I think there's an actual name for it, but I forgot. So what she does in her dream is she puts Kesher through the worst possible circumstances. Like his production gets canceled. Like his company, they force him to hire this actress. Like he gets kicked around at one point, I think. Or something. Like his wife cheats on him with Billy Ray Cyrus. Who's a pool boy, Yeah, and he's just constantly followed by studio goons. Until eventually he gets set up to meet with a cowboy. that's what happens. Who works with the production company, obviously. And the cowboy finally convinces him to succumb to the will of the studio heads. It's one of the most hilarious yet intimidating movie scenes I have ever seen. Intimidating from a dialogue perspective. Now, keeping this in mind, the message that the film industry is controlled to such a drastic extent contrasts with the fact that Mulholland Drive is essentially an art house film with a budget of $15 million that got released in theaters widely. It's been discussed openly enough by people, that uneducated filmgoers like myself can come across it and know of its existence. And that in it of itself is what keeps me going. Like, if I want to make a movie, and I make it and release it, and it builds a following and finds an audience because it's good or because people have found merit in it, they've connected to it, maybe just from their personal lives, then I know that I've done something right, that I deserved it. I mean, knowing the emotional rewards that may come for succeeding at something that seems to be difficult for so many other people to do is what gives me my work ethic and my seemingly insane passion and desire to pour my heart into what I love to do, which is filmmaking or just anything that involves entertainment, I guess. Yeah, that's what keeps pushing me forward. This is a bit emotional, I'm sorry, but I'll move on. I mean, keeping that in mind, I have to discuss what happens at the end of Diane's dream before the whole blue box nonsense. Right. So Betsy and Rita go to a theater to watch a show. Right. And a man comes on stage as music plays in the background, pretty much speaking in Spanish and shouts that despite the fact that no music is heard. I said that wrong. I'm sorry. Right, they go to the theater to watch a show. A man comes on stage speaking Spanish and English back and forth, I think. And despite the fact that music is heard, he shouts, "I no banda." There is no band. Which is essentially Diane subconscious literally telling herself the dream isn't real. Although it is in Diane's mind, that's where it will stay in her mind. It will never materialize in this particular form into something physical beyond the firing of a few neurons or neural connections in her brain, neurotransmitters. Like that's all it will really be in physical reality. And then at another point, another man comes on stage, plays a trumpet, and moves it away from his mouth. Yet the trumpet seems to continue playing. "It's all a tape," he says. The main guy. The dream continues in her mind. during the day, but it has still not materialized. And the music itself being put on a tape implies that the dream itself is a product of past circumstances rather than the present situation Diana's put herself in. If that makes sense. Because tapes themselves are kind of outdated. But, there is no band. This isn't real. In reality, Diane has cut off all her connections with other people and to what she loved to do. And finally, a woman comes on stage and starts singing a song called Lorando. She sings so beautifully that Betsy and Rita can't help but break down crying. Then the woman faints, but the track itself just keeps playing, much to the dismay and shock of Betsy and Rita. Without a band, without the supporting cast of people she surrounded herself with, she has nothing but herself, and that terrifies her. The singer's performance is a false parade of triumph, almost reflecting Diane's hope that one day she will be a big star, she will have her moment. And just like the dream was, false parade of triumph, but the singer's parade ends. Yeah, the dream ends, her spirit gives out, and the singer's body is dragged off stage by two random stagehands who she probably didn't know. And then, her fate is unknown, but she was just a singer in a dream. As far as we know, she just fainted. She might have died. But the fear of dying alone is what I want to get to. Yeah, that woman is pulled off stage by random people. That's all she has. She doesn't have anyone else backing her up. And that's what brings me to this next point. The fear of dying alone. It exists within nearly all of us. It's part of the reason as to why we cling to people and try to create connections with others so that they may one day surround us and give us the reassurance that we changed their lives, amongst others, for the better. That Diane doesn't die surrounded by her friends. She doesn't even die peacefully or naturally. She dies in her bedroom after hallucinating after her guilt just absolutely overwhelms her and causes her to hallucinate. And her fear of old age, comes to her and just withering and dying and being pointless comes to sort of terrorize her in a physical form. Just, I don't know where I am in the sentence, but basically what I'm trying to get to is that all these things combined, it causes her to commit suicide, to kill herself. The end of the movie, the end of Diane's life, and the way others reacted to her death, all these things were done with indifference. In a grandiose fashion, but from an emotional standpoint, with indifference. For a movie to be about a person who wants attention and doesn't get it, it's rather depressing. Yet, all of her failures remain poignant. It's always been such a weird word to me. To this day. Part of that is due to David Lynch's uncompromising script and direction. No matter how absurd an idea may be, no matter how disconnected from reality you get, meaning can still be found out of the little things. Just like how meaning can be found out of every frame of this movie, Mulholland Drive. What's amazing about it to me is that this is just my sort of interpretation of what happened. And I really don't think it sufficiently covers everything that happened in the movie, let alone in Diane's dream. Obviously there's the whole chunk with the man in the dream who talks with this other man about like him having this dream about seeing something behind the alley of like a restaurant that they keep going to or whatever. And it's just, and that is truly terrifying. But I feel like other people have done a better job of explaining that. And even then, I feel like it's such a small portion of this movie that you don't necessarily have to cover it, even though it really is a great scene. But yeah, for the purpose of me trying to keep this organized, I just wanted to avoid that part. Yeah. Like I said, there are probably better interpretations out there than mine. But the only person who knows what anything means in this movie, if it even means anything, is David Lynch. I mean, not even the actors who are in this movie were 100% sure of what he was going for when they were working on set. And it's his trust in them and simultaneous distrust and his trust in the audience that has led to something as simple as a 2-hour long movie sort of transcending itself beyond just being a format of entertainment and becoming a point of discussion for topics such as society, love, and dreams. At least I feel like it can certainly inspire people to get to that point, personally. And what better way to talk about those things than by, through visual media, than by creating something that is purely and ultimately as surreal and complex as the very concepts themselves. Mulholland Drive. Anyway, so Billy Ray Cyrus is in this movie. Gee, how is this? My favorite movie of all time has Billy Ray Cyrus in it. I hate him so much. But he fulfills his purpose in this movie, though. I will say that. But jeez. I'm sorry, I'm dehydrated. Jeez. But yeah, I hate his music. How is he popular? I don't understand. Oh, it's because it's rigged. The music industry is also rigged. There we go. Oh yeah, that is. I guess I'll wrap it up by talking about that sort of thing. Like just the other day, in terms of. Okay, sorry, that was the water bottle. Me shutting the water bottle top. If you heard that, it's so like just the other day I came across this video talking about like there's this guy on Jeopardy who had like the longest streak or has made the most money or whatever on Jeopardy, and it's like. There's this conspiracy video about it that's like, oh, see, like Alex Trebek, he actually knew the whole time. In fact, he actually gave it away. A little bit of a slip of the tongue. You hear that? You hear that quote he said? That means that this whole show is rigged. This guy is always... I just hit my headphones if you heard that, sorry. This guy's always set up to win. And I just don't know why people bother with that. And then, of course, there are people also forming conspiracies about Kobe Bryant's death. And it's just not that he didn't die, but people are like forming conspiracies. There's this one game where he scored like 81 points, I think. Might have actually been more, but yeah, 81 points, I think. I just scroll down the comments. It's just like person says. Oh, well, this only happened because this was his 666th, NBA game, which, from a regular season, I did the math, by the way. From a regular season standpoint, it is true, but it doesn't account for playoff games, But at the same time, I don't know why people bother with silly things like that. It's basketball. It's Jeopardy. It's not like the actual economy, necessarily. I mean, I guess from Jeopardy's standpoint, it's like screwing the other two contestants. I mean, I just don't know what the big deal is about getting angry or upset about certain things that we can't control. Like, some of us can control stuff. We can make contributions, obviously. We can, like, sort of donate maybe to certain organizations that can do something about it. But us, personally, us getting angry and, just posting online to all of, the people that follow us for whatever reason, for them to see, I just don't understand the point of it. I mean, to put it on public display, it's one thing to talk about with your friends, it's a conversation, but I swear, my dogs always just bark when I start talking so seriously, even though I was pretty much talking seriously about Mulholland Drive, but that's about a movie. This is about real life. But, and then, of course, people would believe in Bigfoot. Like, come on, guys. Why, though? I just don't understand why. It's ridiculous. Who cares? I mean, I cared when I was young, when I was in my early, sort of teen years, I cared a lot. But it's just, once the sort of curiosity dies out, it's like, the curiosity for the world starts to die out. That sounds depressing, but once you just start focusing on just your life and your priorities, it doesn't really matter as much anymore. But then again, that's coming from me. It doesn't matter to me because I have other things, that I can attach to. I mean, my opinion, this is gonna sound a bit controversial, but I feel like that's why people. Well, okay, not. I'm talking in my head right now. Like cults, at least cults. Why people get attached to those is because it's all they have. It's why flat earthers get attached to their community. But that's the thing that people gotta realize. There's a community for nearly everyone. I mean, obviously there are some unlucky people, who deserve to be with other people, but, just, unfortunately, during their life, you're just, and, it just drives them to sort of, irrational thinking, but I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know. I'm just happy I haven't become completely. I mean, I feel like a lunatic. I feel a little bit crazy about certain things, but that's just a feeling. It's not like an actual, diagnosis. I mean, it's really just me having emotions, isn't it? But sometimes. Well, I used to get a bit more heated about, like, movies, like, because my family, like, other than my mom, who's become a lot more passionate about them recently, I feel like, or I guess she's always been passionate about movies, but, other than her, like, my family, they, like, for example, when my dad, wants to watch something with me, I'm like, okay, I have to find something that will appeal to his sort of admittedly dumb tendencies and probably most likely have a happy ending, but at the same time also not be terrible enough for me to start bashing on it verbally during the middle of the movie. I swear, some action movies are so dumb. Okay, that's an understatement. A lot of action movies are dumb. Even some of the good ones are kind of dumb. But at least they're good. But I think I was just trying to wrap it up there. Yeah, I still do a little bit. Used to get a little bit more crazy about movies. Just talking about them to other people. I still do. Yeah. But I used to too. I knew I was gonna bring up that Mitch Hedberg quote at one point, kind of. I kind of butchered it a little bit, but whatever. But yeah, I guess I'll end the podcast off of that. I'm gonna stop talking about all that whole conspiracy nonsense or whatever it was I was going on a tangent about, and just recommend that you look up Mitch Hedberg, one of the greatest comedians of I think the late 1990s in the early 2000s. Because he was completely garbage in the early 90s. No, I don't know. I don't know about the material he was performing back then, or if he was even performing material. I don't know his career that well, but I know his material very well. It's one of those weird kind of relationships. I try to just have those kind of relationships with entertainers. I guess. I don't know. I think it just might be out of pure laziness that I didn't look more into his career. But yeah, I've listened to Strategic Grill Locations, and that is a fantastic comedy album. I think that's the name of it. Pretty close, yeah. And I would recommend listening to that. It's got a lot of his best material on it. And if you don't like it, there's an amazing bassist playing in the background. So you can just listen to that and try to drown out Mitch Hedberg's voice. But, great comedian. I recommend him. Anyway, thank you for listening to the Yeetsydoodles podcast. I forget what I write, what I say when I say goodbye, because it's been so long. Jeez. I really don't know what I said. Oh yeah, I should talk about what I'm doing next week. Okay. Next week. I really don't know what I want to. Oh, Disney Plus. I'll just talk about Disney Plus next week. Okay. Yeah. Or just whenever I make the next episode. Okay. Because I know I'm not the most reliable for that. Right. Okay. Cheers. Thank you for listening. To this extremely long episode. But, yeah. Wasn't too bad. I'll edit it to make it. Right now, it's like I keep talking. I should just say goodbye. Okay. I hope you have a good rest of your life. Okay. I feel like it's spectacular. Just say have a good day. I want you to have a good day every day. Obviously, it's very unlikely and unrealistic, but nevertheless, most of your days should be good days. I mean, everyone should technically have bad days, so we just balance it out. But, maybe someday we'll have a utopia where, we're all just happy, but, it's like, who knows? Who knows? Anyway, thanks for listening. Please tune in next time, if there is a next time. Alright, thanks. Cheers. Poopity scoop. Okay, thank you.